Once again in America, we have a police commissioner that lacks functional common sense, who is somehow perplexed that there are public protests for whenever cops kill black people, and yet cops don't receive the same level of protest, if any protest, when civilians kill their fellow officers. I have yet to see one police commissioner out in America state that it is justified to have much more protests on Black Lives Matter than it is on having any protests on police getting killed. They just don't understand at all and call full hypocrisy on people deciding to protest black lives and not protest blue lives. They just continue to be perplexed about it. Continue to be in 2017 after all that we have been through the last few years. The latest commissioner to embarrass himself here is New York Police Commissioner James ONeill, who decided at the funeral of Officer Mia Sosa's familia, who of course suffered that tragic death last week when a deranged man basically assassinated her, decided at the funeral to utter his whole belief that cops aren't getting the same love as civilians when civilians are killed by police deadly force. Here's what he said at her funeral.
Let me tell you something. Regular people sign up to be cops. They sign up for this job of protecting strangers knowing there are inherent risks. But not one of us ever agreed to be murdered in an act of indefensible hate. Not one of us signed up to never return to our family or loved ones. So where were the demonstrations for this single mom who cared for her elderly mother and her own 3 children? There is anger and sorrow, but why is there no outrage? Because Mia Sotis was wearing a uniform? Because it was her job? I simply do not accept that. Mia Sotis was targeted, ambushed, and assassinated. She wasn't given a chance to defend herself. That should matter to every single person who can hear my voice in New York City and beyond.
Now, ONeill's comments have gone viral, and you have the conservatives in the I have few black friends crowd championing his words, feeling that ONeill showed such courage in him uttering these same asinine police sentiments. These people, whether police commissioners or conservatives who don't want to fully acknowledge how police racial brutality continues to keep them in power and how they have to admit how their ideology has played in that power being preserved, they truly do believe that they make a good point, that it is hypocritical that there are no levels of protest equaling the Black Lives Matter protest for police officers getting killed. Only that thought is about as stupid as the average comment from Sheriff David Clarke. Yes, that Sheriff David Clarke. No police commissioner or no officer who believes in that view has any answer to when they are asked, since when is a commissioner or authority or any other cop not gotten the justice they deserve when a regular civilian kills them, to the level of when regular civilians, most notably black civilians, are killed by deadly police force and yet don't even come close to getting a conviction and even struggle to get a charge on that officer. When? If the police commissioner from here in New York City can't understand how there are civilian protests for when black people are killed by cops and yet there are none for when cops are killed, we might as well stop believing that pipe dream that police one day will fully understand why that is the case. And if Commissioner James ONeill can't understand that in this day and age, with video clearly showing deadly force on unarmed black people, whether male, female, and yet there are no convictions given, let alone struggling to even get a damn charge. If he can't understand that, and then can't process how basically Philando Castile's murderer got $50,000 for his murder, as you may have seen the other night that the officer in Minnesota who shot and killed Philando Castile is getting $50,000 to leave the police force. If James ONeill can't understand that and why there are protests that will continue for black civilians getting killed and why there are no protests for police civilians, then it's just another sign of how in the world we have a lot of people that don't know that 2 + 2 = 4. There has to be one person, just one, whether it's Mayor Bill de Blasio or someone that is close to James ONeill, to explain to him the simple fact of why there are protests for black civilians being killed by deadly police force and why there are no protests for police being killed. Just one person, just one, has to explain to him that simple fact. Where in this city, with all the people that are in this city, he should know that already. And that makes it more nefarious if he knows that and yet continues to regurgitate the same BS of how, oh, cops aren't love. Where's our protest love? Where's the protest for support for us in our lives? Where is it, people? Where? You are all hypocrites. And this should be the situation that turns this around. If Commissioner ONeill or any other commissioner continues to believe that, it's just another example in this world of how people don't believe that 2 + 2 = 4. And especially if the commissioner of New York City can't believe that and understand the simple idea of why there are more civilian protests of black people and why there are no civilian protests of police officers getting killed, let's just say that he may not even understand the concept of why we breathe oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. For TYT Politics, I'm Andrew Jones, and if you have any commissioner across the country that you may know, that you watch this video right here, pass it along to them, because it couldn't hurt for them to maybe understand for the first time in their lives why there are more protests for black civilians being killed than there ever is for police officers being killed. Have a good day.